Tick tock, tick tock. The clock is running down on the conditional sell order, and the CDC is happy with the outcome. They're holding the ball at midcourt as the clock counts down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The conditional sell order will indeed expire January the 15th, this coming Saturday. The CDC has come out with a new set of rules telling cruise lines that if you opt in to this new voluntary program, the program's going to look a little bit different than the conditional sell order look like. Let's talk about this new recommended open-ended CDC program right now on Island Time. A big happy Thursday to all you Islanders, and welcome to the show. We all need some time to be right here together in the islands. I am your host, Derek, and on today's episode, we have a look ahead of what the future is going to look like with the new CDC conditional sell order, voluntary kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Cruise lines have more flexibility to establish protocols and regulate themselves. Order. We could spend today talking about cancellations from Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, which are few and far in between, or maybe certain ships missed a certain port today. They're going somewhere else tomorrow. Yes, that's cruise news, and yes, it affects Islanders. But the real news is that cruising continues on almost every ship across North America. Cruising continues, and it will continue to do so. And cruise lines will have more flexibility than they've had the last 2 years. Let's get right into the news. The CDC has made it clear they are not going to extend or issue a new required conditional sell order. We heard Dr. Walensky earlier in the week praise cruise lines in front of the Senate, and now the CDC is coming out with some formalities. They're coming out with some written words on paper that all of us can look at and see what things are going to look like, okay? They have released a new set of rules and recommendations if cruise lines so choose to opt in to said rules and regulations. That's right. This new program, conditional sell order program, is completely voluntary. Cruise lines can opt into the program. If they opt in, then they're going to go by these rules and regulations and protocols, or they can opt out if they want to. There's no difference. It is up to them. They have until January the 21st to inform the CDC of their choice. So just over a week to let them know. If they do so, they're going to have to follow these recommendations. David Daigle works for the CDC. He had some information released late yesterday and even today. He had this to say: cruise ships operating in U.S. waters choosing to participate in the program on a voluntary basis agree to follow all recommendations and guidance issued by CDC as part of this program. There are changes in the program. Let's get right into it. Anchors away. Let's go. We've all become accustomed to the cruise ship color status page from the CDC. You know, some ships are green. They're not really anymore right now, meaning no COVID cases or symptoms of passengers and crew on board. Some are yellow, some are orange. But there's been these two other categories of red, which has never been used or invoked by the CDC. And gray. There's been a gray, and this gray category was created when Florida, the state of Florida, was going through their lawsuits, and they won their lawsuits. And they did not have to go by, cruise lines did not have to go by the conditional sell order out of Florida. However, they continued to do so. So gray was never used, but it could be used now, okay? Let's talk about some of these new color-coded changes. Vessels operating in United States water and selling international itineraries that choose not to participate in this program will be classified as gray. So if you leave from the United States, you go on a foreign trip, you come back to the United States and you say, you know what, Mr. and Miss CDC, we don't want to do this, you're going to be gray. There has not been a cruise line thus far say we're not going to go by this. I'm not saying that can't change, but nothing so far, okay? Cruise ships that opt out and sell only in U.S. waters will not be listed at all. There's not many of those, of course. There's some changes from the old conditional sell order on what will it take for the CDC to start an investigation on ships. Get this right, okay? If cruise lines opt into this program, if there's COVID cases on board that passes a certain threshold, the CDC will still open an investigation on that cruise ship just like they do currently under the conditional sell order. But the numbers are changing a little bit. Listen to this. For example, the threshold for CDC investigation will go from 0.1%, 0.1 of passenger cases or one crew member case. That's going to move to 0.3% of passengers and or crew. So now theoretically, cruise ships could have the numbers that they're having now, maybe increased numbers, and maybe you won't meet the new threshold. The threshold is rising, which constitutes a CDC investigation. That's good news for cruise lines. The media won't be able to chomp on all the ships that are in yellow status. There's 90 ships in yellow status. That number will be higher, but the CDC will still be able to investigate if that number gets to 0.3, which again is still much lower than what the positivity rate that we're seeing on land. The testing requirements will remain in place now. 48 hours ahead of your embarkation day, you will have to be tested. That's okay. Wearing masks at ports is going to apply whether or not cruise lines opt in or opt out of this new program. Remember, ports are federal property. It's covered by the federal government. We will still have to continue to wear masks as we wait to get onto the ship, and as we get off to the ship and get our luggage, we will have to continue to wear masks. This new program also says that self-service food and beverages are okay. Some cruise lines are doing that, some are not doing that. The crew is serving food, but that's okay. Port agreements will have to stay in place. Cruise lines will still have to maintain these port agreements that they have with each individual port. Miami, Port Canaveral, Galveston, Long Beach, all of them will have to have port agreements that specify if we have a high number of COVID cases, here's what we're going to do. Here's how the port's going to help us. Here's where we're taking individuals who need to isolate. Here's what hospital passengers are going to if they so need medical care. These port agreements will stay in place. However, cruise lines will not need to present the CDC with these signed agreements. They will just work individually as a business with local ports, and you will not have to send it to the CDC. Again, self-regulation and choice here. Some flexibility, some freedom, okay? The CDC will eliminate the simulated voyage requirement in the conditional selling certificate application process. So if a cruise line wants to bring back a new ship and they do not want to have 95% vaccinated passengers, you had to go through a test selling and the CDC would be on board and you had to provide all this data of how you kept passengers and crew safe. That's out the window as of Saturday. The CDC will continue to conduct routine unannounced inspections and announced outbreak investigations. So the CDC at any time could show up and say, hey, we're going to board this ship. We want to do an inspection. We want to sail with you this week, this itinerary. That's still going to take place, and that's not a bad thing. The CDC said that websites are expected to be updated with this new program on January the 14th. So we will probably get more information here of what it's going to look like. But the nuts and bolts of it is this. Cruise lines, most likely, from everything that we have seen, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian look like they're going to stay in this program for now. Remember, this program will change, and it's voluntary. So if at one point they say, hey, we want to change this, we don't want to do this anymore, we want to change masking or testing, they can do that. They can opt out. Cruise lines have proven that the protocols are safe. Dr. Walensky said this just the other day. The fact that the industry has stepped up and it's now interested in doing and exceeding the compliance with the sell order without the order even necessarily needing to be in place is a real testimony to how well that has worked. Can you believe we're here? We're almost here, January 15th, where cruise lines again will be able to monitor themselves. Wow. Share your thoughts. What do you think about this story? I know some of you, I've read your comments the previous days. Some of you are wishing that the CDC would go ahead and take their ball and go home. Get out of here. We're done with you. Some of you respect the CDC, and especially I think all of us have to do this. We respect that now in 2022, cruise lines and the CDC are working together. They're working together. We remember when they were butting heads and you can't cruise and hey, I want to cruise. I want to prove you wrong. I want to prove I can do this. No, it's not safe for you to cruise. They're working at least together. And I think a lot of you like that. And a lot of you like too that cruise lines have their own say in their business, that they can do things just as other businesses, air travel, airline companies, train companies, bus companies. You respect that too. So share your thoughts. What do you think about kind of this new program? What's it going to do? Do you want cruise lines to opt into this program? Do you want them to opt out and say, see you later? Let us know in the comment section below as we engage together. And always remember to join us on Facebook as all kinds of things are happening over there. I ask you to please subscribe. Let's hit this January goal of 5,500 subscribers. It is an egregious goal. Let's get there. And please, I really do ask you this. If you enjoyed the content today, give us a thumbs up. That will help this video be put in front of other cruises, no matter where they cruise. Disney, Norwegian, Celebrity, Princess, wherever they cruise, they'll see this video. Islanders, we'll see you tomorrow as we have more cruise news. There's a lot going on. Norwegian announcing a new ship we haven't even referenced yet. Princess Cruise Lines has been dealt. Bam, you violated probation. Put handcuffs on the ship. We haven't talked about that either, but we will. You know that in future episodes. Thank you for joining the show. We hope you enjoyed today's show right here on Island Time.